Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the most important and devastating events in human history, World War II. World War II was a global conflict that lasted from 1939 to 1945 and involved more than 100 million people from over 30 countries. World War II was the deadliest war in history, as it resulted in the deaths of more than 70 million people, including civilians and soldiers, and caused widespread destruction, suffering, and atrocities. World War II also changed the world in many ways, as it reshaped the political, economic, social, and cultural landscape of the 20th century and beyond. But why did World War II happen? What were the causes and consequences of this war? And what can we learn from this war to prevent future wars? If you want to find out the answers to these questions and more, you need to watch this video till the end because I'm going to explain the complex and fascinating history of World War II and how it can impact our present and future. So, let's get started. World War II was not a sudden or isolated event, but rather the culmination of a series of events and factors that had been brewing for decades. The main causes of World War II can be traced back to the aftermath of World War I, which was the first global war that lasted from 1914 to 1918 and involved more than 60 million people from over 40 countries. World War I was also a very costly and destructive war, as it resulted in the deaths of more than 16 million people, including civilians and soldiers, and caused massive damage, debt, and instability. World War I also led to the emergence of new ideologies, movements, and leaders that would shape the course of World War II. One of the most important outcomes of World War I was the Treaty of Versailles, which was the peace agreement that ended the war and imposed harsh terms and conditions on the defeated countries, especially Germany. The Treaty of Versailles forced Germany to accept the blame for the war, pay huge reparations to the victorious countries, give up its colonies and territories, reduce its military and industrial capacity, and join the League of Nations, which was the international organization that was created to prevent future wars. However, the Treaty of Versailles was widely seen as unfair and humiliating by the German people, who felt betrayed and oppressed by the victors. The Treaty of Versailles also failed to address the underlying issues and grievances that had caused World War I, such as nationalism, imperialism, militarism, and alliances. Moreover, the Treaty of Versailles did not prevent the rise of new conflicts and tensions in Europe and around the world, such as the Russian Revolution, which was the political and social upheaval that took place in Russia in 1917 and led to the overthrow of the monarchy and the establishment of the Soviet Union, which was the communist state that would become one of the main rivals and enemies of the Western countries. The Great Depression, which was the global economic crisis that started in 1929 and lasted until the late 1930s and caused widespread unemployment, poverty, and social unrest. And the rise of fascism, which was the authoritarian and nationalist ideology that emerged in Italy, Germany, Japan, and other countries in the interwar period and advocated for the supremacy of the state, the leader, and the race over the individual, the democracy, and the human rights. One of the most prominent and influential fascist leaders was Adolf Hitler, who was the leader of the Nazi Party and the dictator of Germany from 1933 to 1945. Hitler was a charismatic and ruthless leader who exploited the anger and frustration of the German people and promised to restore Germany's glory and power. Hitler also had a racist and genocidal agenda, as he believed in the superiority of the Aryan race and the inferiority and persecution of the Jews and other minorities. Hitler also had a territorial and ideological ambition, as he wanted to expand Germany's borders and influence and create a Third Reich, which was the name of the Nazi regime and the empire that Hitler envisioned to last for 1,000 years. Hitler also wanted to destroy the communism and the democracy, which were the political and economic systems that he considered as the enemies and threats of the fascism and the Nazism. Hitler began to pursue his goals by defying the Treaty of Versailles and rebuilding Germany's military and industrial strength. He also began to annex and invade neighboring countries, such as Austria, Czechoslovakia, and Poland, and form alliances with other fascist countries, such as Italy and Japan, which formed the Axis powers. Hitler's aggression and expansionism alarmed and provoked the other countries, especially the Allied powers, which were the coalition of countries that opposed the Axis powers and consisted of the United Kingdom, France, the United States, the Soviet Union, and many others. The Allied powers tried to appease and contain Hitler at first, but they soon realized that Hitler was not willing to stop or compromise. The tension and confrontation between the Axis powers and the Allied powers eventually escalated into a full-scale war, which started on September 1, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland and triggered the World War II. World War II was a truly global and total war, as it involved almost every country and continent in the world and affected every aspect of life and society. World War II was also a very complex and dynamic war, as it consisted of multiple and interconnected fronts, theaters, campaigns, battles, and events that spanned over 6 years and changed the course and outcome of the war. World War II was also a very innovative and technological war, as it witnessed the development and use of new and advanced weapons, machines, and methods that increased the efficiency and intensity of the warfare, such as the tanks, the planes, the rockets, the radars, the code breaking, and the atomic bombs. World War II was also a very brutal and horrific war, as it involved the violation and abuse of the human rights and the international laws, such as the war crimes, the genocide, the Holocaust, the rape, the torture, and the atrocities that were committed by both sides of the war. World War II ended on September 2, 1945, when Japan surrendered to the Allied powers after the United States dropped atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which killed more than 200,000 people and marked the first and only use of nuclear weapons in history. World War II also ended with the defeat and collapse of the Axis powers and the victory and dominance of the Allied powers, especially the United States and the Soviet Union, which emerged as the superpowers and the leaders of the post-war world. World War II also had many consequences and impacts for the world, such as the United Nations, which was the international organization that was created to replace the League of Nations and to maintain the peace and security in the world, the Cold War, which was the state of political and military tension and competition that lasted from 1947 to 1991 and involved the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies and ideologies, the decolonization, which was the process of the liberation and independence of the former colonies and territories from the European powers and the formation of the new nations and states in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, the human rights, which was the concept and the movement that advocated for the recognition and protection of the inherent and universal rights and freedoms of all human beings, regardless of their race, religion, gender, or nationality, and the globalization, which was the process of the integration and interconnection of the world in terms of the economy, culture, communication, and technology. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Also, let me know in the comments below what other topics you want me to cover in the future. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.